Hi, my name is Laura Harvey and I'm a speech pathologist at Dr. Early Intervention. And I'd like to welcome you back to our channel in which we share information with parents and friends about how to help your child develop as quickly as possible. So this video today is all about the importance of being face-to-face with a child when they're trying to communicate or when you're teaching them how to communicate. There are 1,000 good reasons as to why you want to be face-to-face. One being, if a child has hearing loss, it's going to be really helpful for them to be able to see your face and look at your lip movements. Another reason is if your child's having trouble shifting attention from what they're doing to a person. So looking from their toy to a person is very difficult for some children. So being face-to-face and close to what they're interested in is going to help them understand how to communicate with you as a person. Another good reason is if you're teaching your child to notice people's facial expressions and their body language and their emotions. If you're face-to-face, that's far easier for them to be able to take that information in. And when you're modelling to your child and helping them understand that you have an expectation of them to be able to say something, if you're doing that from the other side of the room, it's very, very difficult for them to be able to notice you and tune into you and recognise that you're trying to say something to them. Another good reason is if you're trying to teach your child new words, you have to think about what they're thinking about. So you have to be able to follow their eye gaze and see what they're looking at. If you can't see what they're looking at, you're not going to know what the right word is to say, and then you won't be able to model the word that they're thinking about at the time that they are thinking about it. So, for example, if you're trying to teach your child a new word and they might be looking at an apple, you'd want to be saying apple at that point because you're looking at their eyes and their eyes looking at the apple, so you know what they're thinking about. So as you can see, I could keep going. There's so many really good reasons as to why you'd want to be face-to-face with a person, a child, when you're focusing on communication, or if your child's having trouble communicating, being face-to-face is going to make a big difference. So essentially, every time you're trying to help engage your child in a conversation, every time you want to play with your child, or you're teaching them a new concept, being well positioned makes such a big difference. And when I say face-to-face, it's not you standing up on the other side of the room being able to see their face. I mean getting on the ground with them, being in front of them and being clearly visible to them where they don't have to look too far outside of their own focus. So a beautiful example would be when I see parents lying on the ground with their child. So their child is sitting and they're lying, so they can be right directly face-to-face with them, and that parent can then notice everything their child's thinking about. And that's brilliant for communication stimulation. And they can also use lots of different facial expressions and help their child notice what they're thinking and feeling. Book reading is really very important when it comes to language development. We encourage parents to read with their children as much as possible, but the way you read makes such a big difference. So in regards to being face-to-face, I've seen parents lying on the ground with the book in front of them and their child in front of them and reading the book upside down as they go through it. Luckily the words aren't too complicated, so reading upside down shouldn't be too big a deal, should be achievable. But alternative ideas would be to have it up next to you and you're doing this with your child. So you would have the book and you read sideways and then your child is here, so you're still face-to-face with them. Alternatively, I've had parents put the children up against their knees, leaning back, and they've got the book in front of their chest and they can turn the page like that and they can see their child there. So however you want to do it, there are so many good ways to be able to be face-to-face for as much of your interaction time as possible. When you're eating, being up at the table together, your child can watch you eat. You can model eating a different range of foods, and then they can notice that, oh, mum's eating them, or maybe that's okay to eat, you know. If ever you're wondering whether or not it's worth being face-to-face, assume that it is. Assume that it is a good idea to be face-to-face, and there's lots of things that your child could benefit from with you being face-to-face. So I hope you find this helpful. I know that it's something that is often not emphasized enough. There's no reason to not, essentially. It's not any harder work to be face-to-face. So as you've heard, there are lots of good reasons to be face-to-face with your child. And yes, sometimes a little bit more effort to get around and being in front of them, but the benefits majorly outweigh the downsides. So if you're ever wondering if it's worth doing it, assume yes. Assume it is, because communication is so important, and really only about 7% of what you communicate are your words. The rest of it is your body language and your tone of voice. So if your child can see you, you're going to be more on the same page than if you're across the other side of the room calling out to them, or they're facing away, absorbed in their toys, not even noticing that you're trying to talk to them. Yeah? So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send a message. I hope you find this helpful. I hope I've explained why it's so important to be face-to-face. And if there's anything that I've missed, please add it to the comments. You know, we'll all share this information together and learn from it together. Have a wonderful day.